Vlad the Impaler, also known as Dracula. Okay, he wasn't actually Dracula, but dude was horrible enough to be the rumored inspiration for him, which you'll see why. Vlad was the second of 4 brothers born to Vlad Dracul II, who ruled over the Principality of Wallachia. Well, as Wallachia bordered the huge Ottoman Empire, Dracul Sr. gave up his sons Vlad and Radu to the Ottomans as a sort of collateral to demonstrate his loyalty to them. Now, Vlad Sr. definitely did not get Father of the Year award in 1444 when he decided to join the Christian crusade at Varna, because he pretty well fully knew his kids would get tortured or killed, even saying they were going to get butchered for the sake of Christian peace. Surprisingly, the boys were fine, and even got a pretty decent education from the Ottomans. But he was still a prisoner, so his hate festered against the Ottomans the entire time he was there. Later in 1448, he was allowed to return to Wallachia after his father got killed by Wallachian nobles, who were known as boyars, for working with the Turks, which was considered a fairly anti-Christian thing to do. The boyars also wore these really weird hats, which I think makes them look like pepper grinders. This started a big kerfuffle with Vlad against the boyars and his brother. He briefly got the throne for a bit, but then had to give it up. After a complicated 8 years of fighting, and then with the Hungarians getting involved on both sides, he finally regained his crown. Now returned to the throne, he sends all the boyars letters saying, "Hey boyars, let's forget about all that bad stuff, like you killing my father. So come on over for a nice dinner and we'll hash things out." Well, the boyars get there, and waiting for them is food and drinks. And then Vlad is just like,
"You killed my father. Prepare to die."
Well, he impales them all through giant wooden spikes, and then makes a forest out of them. This pretty much sets a precedent for his rule, where any insubordination gets you sent to the impalement forest. Peasant rebellion? Impalement forest. Put the toilet paper on the wrong way? Impalement forest. Though he had some variety to his methods, like when he invited a bunch of homeless beggars over for dinner, then locked them inside and set the building on fire. Vlad even took advantage of a civil war in Hungary to attack the Transylvanian Saxons, plundering their villages, and of course, impaling the women and children. Now, of course, the Ottomans, who had helped Vlad get to his throne, expected a yearly tribute, which one year, Vlad said screw it and refused to pay. The Sultan sent a messenger to Vlad with a message that if he came to Constantinople in person and apologized, all would be forgiven. What the messenger did not tell Vlad was that the Sultan was planning on capturing him midway on his journey and killing him. But Vlad was a sneaky guy, and found out about this. So of course, impalement forest. He even kindly returned the man's head back to the Sultan. Knowing the hammer was coming down, Vlad immediately launched an invasion of Ottoman territory, making sure to massacre villages and towns along the way. But when the Sultan finally mustered an army of 150,000 men, Vlad had to retreat, but made sure to adopt a scorched earth policy to slow down the Turkish advance. At one point, Vlad actually personally entered the Turkish camp in the middle of the night to assassinate the Sultan, but accidentally entered the wrong tent and killed some of the Sultan's viziers instead. So when the Turkish army entered Targoviste, they encountered, of course, an impalement forest of 20,000 people. At that point, the Sultan was just like,
"This I'm out. This I'm out. No thanks."
And retreated from Wallachia. Though Vlad's good times would not last much longer, because when he got home, the Hungarian king captured and imprisoned him for 14 years. He did eventually return to Wallachia and ended up fighting the Ottomans again, but this time he died in battle. And it's even rumored that the Turks cut up his body into pieces and sent his head to the Sultan to be impaled on a spike. Thanks for patrons Andy Luke, Emerson Salmerio Rubio, Link the Bets 24, Skylar Weston, Sean Fennerty Loins, and Zyma.